What's up, my veggies? My name is VTR, and welcome back to another movie review. And today we're going to be reviewing Silent Night, Deadly Night from 1984. Let's go ahead and just jump straight into the synopsis here. An orphan raised by nuns grows up to be a killer toy store Santa Claus. A little more to it than that, but that's basically the premise. Going into this movie, I did not know what to expect. I was really just did not know what to expect going into this film. I had low expectations, but not... I didn't have low expectations, I didn't have high expectations, I guess I could say. The movie is super interesting. Start off with some of the positives. The kills are actually really nice. One thing I do find really weird about the movie... is like there's like a lot of times where like there's like the footage is like looks worse. I don't know if that's because it's like the unrated version adding stuff back in or what, I don't know. But also this movie also just does a lot of interesting things with its premise. It's like you look at the poster and you think it's a killer Santa Claus, like the actual Santa Claus. No, it's a guy that was traumatized by some guy in a Santa suit, and he winds up becoming a killer later on down the road in life, which is really interesting when you think about it. But also you can kind of see where this whole thing is going. The movie doesn't have a full-on structure, I'd say, but the movie definitely takes its turns and makes you really think about what's going on and the psychological effects on this kid. That and like you see him through three different stages: him as a little kid, him at the orphanage as a little bit of an older kid, and then him as an adult. You kind of get to see those three, the progression of him, and you see, like he says, you see a little bit. There's like he's got like this PTSD going through his mind. The acting in the movie is pretty decent. There's not like anything bad there. To say like this just feels like a bunch of the kills are just like people that are just show up to be killed, and that's mostly just all you get. It's like characters are introduced, then killed, introduced, then killed, introduced, then killed, introduced, then killed. It's basically what happens throughout this whole movie. And you don't know if you should sympathize with anyone. There's not anyone to really sympathize with. But also you can understand a bit like why the dude's like this. But then like there's sometimes like there's like you think the movie's gonna go one direction and it doesn't go in a direction you think it would. I can say you're never bored watching this movie because you're definitely thinking about what in the world is going on with this film. Why is this what's going on? Like, it's really racking your brain trying to think, like, okay, so why is this happening? And not why is this happening, but like, what's gonna happen and what's going on here? It's actually a bunch of different scenarios, just of just like, oh, these people get killed by this ghost Santa. These people get killed. This couple gets killed. And you see like this little bit of all this stuff that really like messes with his head, that makes him like eventually lead up to becoming this killer Santa. And there is some fun moments there in this. There's some funny moments in the movie with there's a scene with like this drunk store owner is like, oh yeah, that's good. It's funny. I feel like this scene's written well and it's very funny, and it is just over the moon fun, I think. The soundtrack is a lot of like they made a bunch of Christmas songs for this movie, and like they made their own original songs, and there are a lot of I could hear these on the radio or something like that. Like that's how interesting the music is. And the one thing that's really interesting about this movie is the controversy about when it came out. It got pulled from theaters like a week or two after it was because of people being so mad about like Santa being presented, whatever the word is I'm looking for, as a killer, and a lot of parents weren't happy about that. But this movie has become kind of a cult classic at this point. Me personally, I wouldn't say I think it's definitely is a horror icon at this point. I would say Billy is a horror icon. It's kind of funny that there's like 2 horror franchises with the killer named Billy. But yeah, that's really all I can think about to say about that. Critics give this movie a 44% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is, even for when this was, that still feels kind of low to me. Audiences give it a 39, which feels very low to me. I would not have expected audiences to not like this that much. But I know a lot of horror fans have a soft spot for this franchise and for this specifically the first film. I know the second one we'll get to the second one. But this movie is super interesting and super, like, I don't even know what to think about some of it. But it's definitely a good, thought-provoking, interesting watch. And like I said, the kills are good. The characters, there's alright. Like, Billy the Killer, like, the main character is also the main character. You don't get that a lot. Like, the killer is also the main character. You don't get that a lot. Because, like, with, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, you get Nancy. If I'm saying that right, I think that's her name, right? I hope I'm right. Child's Play, you got Andy. I can't think of anyone off the top of my head, but you get what I'm going for. This one, like, your protagonist is your antagonist, I guess you could say. And it's really interesting the way they handle you see his, like, he's trying to be a good dude, but then, like, something finally pushes him over the edge. And I have a theory that maybe, like, the alcohol in his system, because he was drinking a little bit, maybe helped with that. But also the PTSD and just a whole bunch of stuff that he's seen growing up, and stuff that he's just seen and was seen as naughty and everything. I'll tell you one thing. They say the word naughty a lot in this movie. Like, it's to a laughable degree with how often they say naughty in this movie. They say it a lot. But the movie overall, I think a lot of people, it's a good horror movie. If you're a horror fan, you want a horror-themed Christmas movie to watch, definitely, or a Christmas-themed horror movie, whatever. Definitely, I'd say check out Silent Night, Deadly Night. Me personally, my rating for this, I think I'd just go on a limb and just say it's a... I'll be nice and I'll give it a 3 out of 5. I think that's a solid point for it. I think that's an alright place to throw this film. I don't think it's anything fantastic. It's got some good effects. It's got some good kills. It's got an interesting story and an interesting plot-ish, and it's just like a bunch of things happening, and sometimes that's a bad thing to a movie. This time I wouldn't really say it's a bad thing, but I do think I'd say give it a watch if you haven't seen it. It's definitely watch it with some friends though. I feel like you'd probably enjoy it more if you watch it with friends. I watched it with a friend, and we had a good time with it. There's one song, it's like it was during this montage. That's probably the best part of the movie, and it's not even a horror element. But it's me and my buddy, we were talking about that, how that's probably one of the best scenes in the film. Sorry about that. But before I end this video off, I do want to remind you guys real quick, we do have merch. If you want to get you some of that merch, hopefully we should get some new designs coming out pretty soon. So definitely keep an eye out for those. I do hope you guys enjoyed this video. We are going to tackle the rest of this franchise, hopefully throughout the rest of December. As I definitely do want to cover this whole franchise in October. But what do you guys think of it? What do you think of guys of Silent Night, Deadly Night? Let me know down in the comment section below. I'd really love to know what you guys think about this movie. And this whole franchise as a whole, and what movies do you want to warn me about? Because I don't know. But that's all I got to say this video, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, please tap the like button down below, subscribe, leave me a comment, and link to all my other things are down in the description below. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!